What up? What up? I am currently live at 9:52 a.m. Eastern Standard. I wanted to actually start a conversation with people, a real conversation. And you see the title, you click on it, and I'm going to say right now that a lot of people are not talking about the real reason why dating is dead in America. And I want to actually start a conversation that is real, that is fair, and that is balanced. So, one of the things I've noticed about all these channels on YouTube is that they have effectively become echo chambers. They talk about the same things over and over and over again, and a lot of that is merited to some degree, but I don't hear about the reason that I am going to be mentioning here on this live. So let's highlight and break it down as to why dating is dead, especially if you live in a country that has ever backed feminism. The reason why dating is dead adds up to operant conditioning. So you heard that right. The real reason why dating is dead is because of operant conditioning. Let's break it down. So operant conditioning is a system of rewards in exchange for certain kinds of behavior. And the thing about behavior and rewards and punishments is that it teaches people to do things without you actually telling them verbally. So in every given country that I can think of, minus some places in the Middle East and maybe some places in Africa, women have sole control over who they let inside their bodies, as they should. And there's nothing wrong with women having control over who they get with. But in breaking down this idea of operant conditioning in the dating market, what ends up happening is that if women are not careful about who they are selecting, what you're effectively telling most guys with your expectations is that no matter what they do, no matter how hard they try, they will end up in one of two situations. Scenario number one, they get rejected immediately. Scenario number two is what I like to call delayed rejection. So let's go through the immediate rejection first. So in immediate rejection, there's the mean women, there's the ones that make a scene when they're out in public. There's the women that they lie about having boyfriends when the vast majority of American males are single. What up, Jax? Welcome to the stream. I can't really pay much attention to the chat because I'm driving hands-free. I just saw you out of my peripheral. So what up, what up? So I'm just going to keep talking, though. So the thing is that, you have the immediate rejection, but then you have something even more conniving, cold, and calculating, which is what I like to call delayed rejection. So you're probably saying, well, Exceed, what the heck is delayed rejection? Well, it's exactly in the name. Let's break it down. Scenario number one, and I fell into most of this most of the time, and I will disclose that I am single, and I do very much want to be, I do want to be in a relationship. Just a moment, people are blocking the road like a bunch of idiots. All right, anyway. Hello, I just found gold in the YouTube live. I appreciate that, Aspen. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So the thing is that, let's go through, so you have the immediate rejection, then delayed rejection. So with delayed rejection, you have several scenarios, or I should say several checkpoints at which most relationships are going to end. So scenario number one, a woman gives you her phone number and then just refuses to answer the phone when you text or call. Scenario number two, it goes a bit farther and you set up a date, but she does not show up. Scenario number three, she shows up to the date, but then she blocks you after the date. Scenario number 4, you end up having, you guys are texting and then just magically she just stops responding. And I'm going a little bit out of order here. Scenario number 5, you get into a situationship, after which case she ends up ghosting you anyway. Scenario number 6, she ends up being your girlfriend, but then she leaves you anyway. Scenario number 7, you get engaged and same thing happens. Scenario number 8, you sign a state marriage license and or participate in common law marriage, which is essentially the same thing according to the state law of wherever it is that you're living, and then she leaves you anyway. So in all of these situations, and we're not even talking about if children are involved, but in 100% of these scenarios, a man ends up being single anyway. So what does this have to do with operant conditioning? Well, if I end up in a situation where I know what the end result's going to be, why would I bother trying? So I want to give you guys an analogy, and this is something someone else taught me. I'm not going to claim originality, but stick with me. Let's say you have a mad scientist who is studying operant conditioning as it pertains to a grasshopper. So every time the scientist pokes and prods the grasshopper normally jumps. But just the instant before the grasshopper can escape, the mad scientist puts a glass over the grasshopper and the grasshopper smacks its head on the top of the glass. This happens over and over and over again. Say yay if you hear me. How could I hear you when you're typing, Soledad? What the heck? Anyway, so in operant conditioning, what does the grasshopper learn? The grasshopper ends up learning that escape is futile and there's no point in jumping anymore. So then eventually the mad scientist pokes and prods the grasshopper and the grasshopper doesn't do anything. Well, what just happened is that the grasshopper has now learned to do nothing because of learned helplessness. And the similar situation in the dating market today. So you have men who are trying to leap out of singleness into an eventual relationship, and they know they have to put in some form of work in the relationship on some level. Now, for the right woman, if a woman really likes you, she's going to give you that play on some level because she actually likes you. But if you end up in situations like I have throughout the last, 5-6 years of my adult life, you're going to end up getting used and tossed in the trash. So what does that teach men? It teaches men that trying to get out of this zone is futile. You might as well just peace out on the United States, get your passport, and leave the United States. So now women are complaining about that as well, where, again, this is all part of operant conditioning, which is all showing that no matter what a man does, women will continue to complain. So this is a huge problem because women, whether you know it or not, you are programming men to behave in a certain way. So now one of the ways I'll talk about this from my example today. There are several attractive women I saw at the gym today, and the thing is that in order to find a potential future wife, potential girlfriend, I'm seeing a lot of attractive women when I cross over state lines to go to the gym. And the thing is that as I am looking at this attractive woman, I already have some form of program running in the back of my head saying it is completely worthless that I ever make any attempt to walk up to this woman. Now, in terms of most American beauty standards, this woman would probably be a 4, a 5 at best. But the thing is that I have much more attainable standards. I have more attainable standards as opposed to most people. It's not difficult for a woman to be attractive to me. So I don't look at the Taylor Swift types of bodies. I like more voluptuous women, more curvy women. So I saw one today, and I was going to get off of the cardio equipment that I was using, and automatically I have this program in my head that says, no, it's not going to work. Don't bother getting off the machine. And I ended up not getting off the machine, and I ended up not trying. So what it all boils down to is that I already believed in my heart of hearts that it was useless that I should even attempt trying to walk up to this woman. So this woman who is average, and I would consider myself average, and I think in terms of looks I'm actually improving because I'm always putting in that work at the gym. My internal programming said you might as well not even bother trying to approach this woman because she's going to reject you anyway. And I ended up not trying. I just said, okay, F it. I'm just going to stay on the elliptical and I'm just going to keep on going. So a lot of times, especially when you see these behaviors in other places on the internet, you end up having the same exact kinds of behaviors where you are effectively you're effectively watching things on YouTube, clips on TikTok, and you see that men have been effectively maligned for things that are out of their control. Again, this is all part of conditioning. Women have already said, if you're not 6 foot tall, if you're not over 6 foot tall, don't bother approaching me. If your height begins with 5, don't talk to me. If you don't have 6-pack abs, don't talk to me. If you don't have 6 figures, don't talk to me, or a 7-figure net worth. I've heard it both ways, depending on if you have a job or not. So effectively, you are effectively conditioned as a man to believe that, well, you spoke and said that you don't want me approaching you if I don't look a certain way. You expect me to read your mind you expect me to read your mind, and you expect me to know exactly what you like in a man. So, and thus, I've been conditioned to approach a lot less. And I'm 32. I'm 32 and a half years old, and I've never been in a successful long-term relationship, despite being willing to be in a place of service and humble myself. It still does not work. So effectively, I don't think that it's worth trying to date in today's day and age. I just don't. So I at least not in the United States, I don't. Personally with me, I want to get my passport and I want to leave this country. There's no point in staying in America if I'm just going to stay single against my will forever because of things out of my control. I would give almost anything to change my height. I would give almost anything to accelerate my metabolism so that I end up getting rid of my body fat. I would give almost anything to change my income to be 6 figures. I give almost anything to do that. And the thing is that if women are going to continue to non-verbally judge me for things that I can't control, I just gave up. So there's no particular point in me trying to approach women. And it's like, unless I'm just trying to have a basic conversation, and sometimes those conversations go great, but most of the time actually all the time, the conversations end up with me being single. So I've been taught via women's behavior that it is worthless that I should even try. So that's really just all I really wanted to say for today. I wanted to start this conversation. Might just send my live to some other people. Make sure we get those likes up. I appreciate it if you do so. I really want to share this with people, this idea of operant conditioning, so that we can have more of a conversation about it. It doesn't matter that I don't have ad revenue right now. That doesn't matter to me. I chose to start talking about relationship stuff after its prime, after most of the money has already left the niche, because money's not my particular motivation regarding this topic. So that's all I really got to say. Comments are open, and I hope you guys have a great one. See ya.